music sort of green. I like vintage justice when they fall. Still on my knees, I pretend I I got a record player that was made in 2014.
Hello and welcome to Bleed Advertising with me, Ryan Whyte. I'm a freelance graphic designer. I'm joined as always by Jacque Moodley.
I've done all the good jokes now.
Okay.
Yes.
But you are a permanent art director, right? Also award winning.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a permanent art director, kind of. And also award winning thanks to someone on my right, Naledi Manama.
Yes, a very special guest today, Naledi Manama, who's also an award winning art director.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she is. She is.
AKA Judge Cutie.
Reporting for Judy.
Hey,
You know,
yo. Pew, pew,
finally-
pew, pew, pew.
Finally on the grey couch.
Yeah.
You know.
Which is a new couch, actually.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's very
Thank you.
nice. Very
It's very
comfy.
comfy.
It's a
Doubles up
vibe.
as a sleeper couch when Ryan edits too late.
Yeah.
He comes
Okay.
over, we do some edits, and then he crashes
Vibes.
here. Yeah.
Vibes.
Funny
yeah.
thing is, all those jokes sound better the third time around.
Yeah, we like finesse those jokes.
Yeah.
But
But
they
no,
don't
I
need
mean-
to know that. The audience thinks we're very professional.
Oh no, we didn't
Yeah.
have
One
two
take.
takes before this.
No.
Yeah, no technical difficulties
Not
at
at
all, you know.
Smooth.
But I mean, it's the art of revisions
Yeah.
and, you know, reverts, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm in this
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah.
Well, my next comment will come as a surprise to you, but congrats on your recent trophy haul. Won a few advertising awards out there
Quite a
for
few.
Coca-Cola Beat Can. Let's hear it.
Jeez. Yeah. Thank you. I think this has been certainly for me right now in my career has been like the biggest turnover, award turnover definitely, and
What we talking? We're talking Cannes. We're talking
bruv,
Louis Grand Prix. We're talking D&AD shortlist. We're talking.
one show shortlist.
Come on.
Bookmarks.
Lurie's Grand Prix.
Oh
You know what I'm
my
saying?
gosh.
Bookmarks on bookmarks.
Hey,
Um,
stacking.
Yeah, it's just like, geez. And
And how many years you got in the industry? Just so the audience are aware.
I started officially, I was permanently employed in 2017. So
Wow,
this is my 5th year. Yeah.
for 5 years, and you are
Yeah.
killing it. To put it lightly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it does feel like it is only the beginning.
Mm.
Yeah, the beginning of my advertising journey has been a interesting one, just in terms of like, I found it quite difficult to get into the flow of things, you know, to get in my bag, you know, for lack of better words, and kind of feeling like displaced for a very long time, to a point where like, after, you know, Beat Can, I kind of took a sabbatical, you know, just because I was questioning myself a lot and questioning whether I'm on the right path, and, you know, whether, you know, I should just like rethink things and kind of start again, you know. I don't know.
Well, that's crazy. Majority of your career was under lockdown. It sounds like if you were permanently employed
shit.
in 2017.
Can I swear? Sorry.
No, you
Yeah,
can't
okay.
fucking swear on this piece of shit show.
Would it really be an advertising show
If you didn't
we
swear,
couldn't
yeah.
swear? Jeez, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No
Yeah,
profanities.
No, actually, that's wild. Actually,
Yeah.
yes. Yo, that's actually insane.
And to win all of those awards from position of, you know, being at home, working at home, collaborating with people virtually,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
to still come away with all that. And yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it also just added honestly another layer of like difficulty in the process, not being in person, you know, and also the world is like burning,
Yeah.
and everyone is unfortunately just like dying, and you're just like stuck at home figuring out briefs every day, just like, you know,
Yeah.
working at it a little bit more and a little bit more, and yeah, in the grander context of the world also, you're kind of like questioning again yourself about
Okay.
like, if the world is coming to an end, is it really worth it what I'm doing? Is it you know,
Yeah.
am I actually doing anything of
Yeah.
my life really?
I think we all had a similar thought. during
Yeah,
that period.
yeah. I think things like that kind of force you to think about the grander scheme of things and the grander life plan. So, I had a moment where, you know, I kind of packed it all up and I hit the road like
Oh, nice.
Jack Kerouac for a little bit.
Into
and
the Wild.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, on the road. Not
Oh, Into
sorry,
the Wild
sorry.
is Jacque Krakauer.
yeah,
Sorry, my
yeah,
bad.
other Jacque.
On the road, yeah.
Yeah, so after that little stint, then I got called back into Adland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a interesting little call from a interesting gentleman, Safara Cindy, and I kind of journeyed my way back. But I think that process was necessary for me, right? Just in terms of the personal like mindset change.
Yeah.
You know? And I'd even go as far as saying like even ego death happened in that period.
Yeah.
You know, where again when you're questioning whether the job that you do and the thing that you kind of set your life to is worth it, and also like our industry is quite egotistical and like ego driven, and that's why we do all these award shows and we work so hard to kind of attain these objects. It becomes it becomes weird when you don't necessarily achieve to the level that your peers are,
Yeah. Exactly.
So once I kind of like packed it all up and I gave it up, if anything, I then kind of decided to just take it easy and have fun.
Nice.
Have fun. Yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah.
I feel like we went like.
No. I think no.
We went.
We'll bring the energy back up. I think the.
Sorry, I
there's
have
two
a
things-
tendency of doing that.
No, it's
I'm
okay. I
not
like the
exactly the
interest.
funnest person at the party.
No,
I'm
I can't
joking.
say
That's
that.
a
You
lie.
are the party.
That's true.
No, you are the party. We talk a lot of shit about awards on this podcast, if anyone's listened before. But I think it's funny you say that, because I also feel like you can get a little bit lost in like this journey, and you kind of go, why am I doing it? What's the point? Whatever. And like, for me, awards has never been like a thing I've really set my sights on or whatever. But, thanks to you and Marvin and John or whatever, like I was attached to the project and it happened to convert. And it kind of has sparked some like inspiration again. And you start to get this like, and I understand why people do it, because I think if you're not really on the awards train, you don't understand the point of it. And then when you start to convert and it wins and you know what it feels like, and you go, oh, this is actually quite nice.
Yeah.
Then you get motivated by your own success, which maybe is still an ego thing, but you are still kind of like, I get it now. It's something like switches over and you're like, I get why people are so passionate about this and why they're driven and why it does so much for their morale, but also for the agency and the team around them. And everybody gets this little gust and this gusto and this burst of energy and the second wind. It's like where like the whole energy comes together and like, well done, guys. And I've been watching a lot of sports documentaries. I'm not a guy who's into sport, but even like watching football coaches and captains of their teams and how they have to motivate their teams to win and stuff, and winning a cup. And you see what it does to all the players around them when they all have this unified goal, and we're all going here, we all want to head to this thing, we all have a single-minded objective. That kind of does like rally the troops and bring people together. What's wrong?
No, are we good?
No, we all good.
It's not doing things.
It'll do
Okay.
things when you go, bah!
Bah.
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 We'll just
Okay,
make a
no,
beat
okay,
from
I
it.
see.
That's how Coca-Cola beat can start. Actually, how did that start?
Exactly.
How did that start? Tell us the story.
So again, COVID.
Sure.
A lot of my advertising stories will be COVID stories, because not because I'm a morbid motherfucker, but because most of
That's
my
where
career.
your career is. The middle of your career.
In the middle of chaos.
Yeah.
Do love some chaos, but how it started, it was 2020. We all had finally been ushered into our homes, locked up, scared of everything and anything around us, because the potential of dying was so high.
Did you wash your like grocery packets and stuff?
Yeah,
Did
I was intense. Like
I
was very intense about
I'm not
it.
washing this box of cornflakes.
No, I mean, over time you kind of become more and more lazy.
Yeah.
Like the laziness took over a little bit.
At some point.
I was like, surely not. No, nah. You risk it a little bit more. But yeah, I was like, I was intense about it. Washing my hands every 20 seconds. I was like,
happy birthday.
yeah, slicing the cake with the cup. What the fuck? No, you see that like cake thing where people don't. Why did they do it?
I have no idea.
Actually,
Was it a TikTok thing? They put like
yeah. Oh
No, it
no, I
could've
don't
been.
think it was the cup thing. It was the where you blow your candles with a paper or whatever, so you don't
switch
actually
Yeah.
breathe on the
wow, I
cake.
didn't think about birthdays during COVID. You couldn't blow the candles.
Well,
Yeah.
well, that actually did happen. We had a birthday at our agency, and it was someone's birthday. Everyone was wearing masks, but they had a cake with candles. He took his mask off,
Oh.
blew the candles, and then started handing out cake. I was
And
like,
everyone was like, "Oh no."
no, everyone was like, "Ooh, it's cake."
Oh really? Because
Cake
I
over
saw
COVID, you
Yeah.
know?
I saw a video from someone on set. It was here in South Africa where they were on shoot and they brought out the cake and everyone's singing happy birthday and the person like blew on the cake and everyone's like, no.
Fair enough.
So yeah. But yeah, so amidst all of that, like, craziness that we were all kind of adjusting to, we got a brief from Coca-Cola, which is like what they call a 10% brief. And these 10% briefs come once in a while. And just for context, the 10% brief has like created, some of the really iconic work, like, the rainbow, the names on a can.
The phonetic cans, yeah.
The phonetic cans, even no, phonetic was actually proactive, I think.
Oh, okay.
But Jono can clear that up.
Yeah, we'll get them on.
But yeah, so there's like the names on a can, like from
Oh, like say
Australia,
hello
I
to
think, or
Tando
whatever.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one of those, the vending machines were like 10%
10%.
briefs.
Okay.
So the 10% brief finally like came in, and little old Marvin and I got the brief because I was working quite predominantly on Coca-Cola at the time.
Yeah.
So it came to myself and Marvin, and I was like, oh shit, which is its own story in a way. But so it comes in and they're like, yeah, this is basically what you have to live up to. The rainbow, the names on a can. This is what we're looking for. We're looking for the thing that's going to get us up on stage, the thing that's going to make us famous, again. And, no pressure, none whatsoever. So, we had like a first round of reviews. And, Jono was like, nah, go back to the drawing board. So Hannah was like, nah, go back to the drawing board. And yeah, we're like, shit.
Jonathan Warburg and Sahana Gordon, just for people's context,
you
yeah.
know, there's little
Little subtitles,
creatives in
handles.
this industry.
Yeah,
just
CD and ECD. Yeah.
So a couple reviews, we get sent back to the drawing board, and finally, also Marvin and I were brainstorming over teams, which also is like a weird one.
Yeah.
Especially when you aren't used to it, right? So eventually Marvin's like, fuck it, I'm coming to your house. We're gonna, chill, and we're gonna just like brainstorm in person, get the papers ready, get the permanent markers ready, cut them into little squares. And Marvin came through, and we basically just like spent the whole day just chilling and just, throwing out ideas and stuff. And then amongst that pile of papers that were strewn all over the garden and all over the walls and stuff, was just like ideas. It finally clicked.
Nice.
That like, also because their thing that they were specifically focusing on was like music, being a driver for youth and stuff like that. And it's just like, how do we merge youth interest, which is music, and what we do, which is selling cans of Coca-Cola. So that's kind of where Beatcan was born.
Nice.
Shout out to Kildramy Clothes, Pulls Off.
Pulls off.
The place where ideas are born.
Come on, I was in Pulls off. Some ideas came out of there.
Say.
Some children came out of there too. Just one. Shout out Cole.
Daddy loves you.
He's gonna watch this one and be like, this
guy at his 16th. What's going on? But you mentioned you went through a period of a bit of doubt. Where did that come from? Was it to tie in with COVID, or was it the world's ending kind of vibes?
I think it's just like I think it's a personality thing more than anything. I don't like to say I'm a perfectionist or anything, but I I'm quite hard on myself, you know,
Okay.
in terms of like, you know, I'm like Ash Ketchum. I wanna be the very best that no one ever
Is it still in
was.
Ketchum?
Yeah, Ketchum.
No, you're kidding.
Ash Ketchum.
That's why you gotta catch them all.
Yeah.
Come
yeah,
on.
Yeah.
I think I'm today years old.
Anyway, so yeah, Ash Ketchum, you know.
Ketchum.
So yeah, it's just like, you know, and when you're in an industry that you know, promotes and fosters so much creativity and so many smart people. You're surrounded by like such incredible minds all the time. You know, I've always been grateful for that, you know, being exposed to that, but also it equally makes you question yourself a lot, or made me question myself quite a bit, you know. So having the Ash Ketchum mindset and then meeting people who are just like, who blow your mind, you know, just by how awesome they are and how, you know, how I perceived it to be so like natural and effortless, you know.
Got you.
I was, you know, it made me a little doubtful, made me a little doubtful of myself quite a bit, and also starting out as well, you know, and being impatient.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not the most patient person with myself, because you kind of want things now and you want to, you know, do it now, and you kind of are struggling to find the balance of being a student, but also, you know, mastering.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm a fan of anything that leads you to take a sabbatical. You know? So
me too, actually. Yeah.
Any reason to take a sabbatical, I'm a fan of. So even if it was born out of self-doubt, that got you to a point where you were like, I'm going to take some time off, going to have some me time.
Yeah.
What did you do? You literally went on a Jacque Kerouac style road trip?
I did.
Nice.
I spent the first bit, so even when I did resign from my job, I looked at my savings. I was like, there's a little something here, you know, I could do something. Also, I had like recently moved back home with my parents. Okay. Interesting plot twist development. So it's just like, shit, just hit the road, you know. And I spent a bit of time at home. I literally didn't want to do anything. I didn't do anything. I didn't try to, you know, start another arty project. You know, I literally just like watched movies for a while until like, you know, I couldn't anymore.
How long was the sabbatical, if you don't mind me asking?
The intention was for it to be like 2 months long, but it only made it to a month.
Oh wow!
A month is a good thing. I took a month.
Yeah, no, it's decent.
I had a month in Colombia, similar thing. Like I think personally, I was just going through a lot of shit, like family wise. I think my uncle passed away. My health was bad. Like I was just like, I just needed time, and I took a month off. Went to Colombia. Mark Tomlinson hooked it up. Rest in peace. He was the owner of Hello Computer, the MD as well as part owner. And it was the best thing I ever did for myself, because I came back with so much. I think Toyota Story started after that. Like a lot of the great campaigns or stuff I worked on was after that little sabbatical, because I think as creatives you give so much of yourself, you put so much of your energy into your projects, into your ideas, that you run out. At some point you're going to run out, and you need to recharge those batteries. Otherwise you become a flat battery to your agency, and or to whoever it depends on you to come up with that stuff. And it's so important for, I think, creatives to take that time off, take a sabbatical,
and I think even then, I think the sabbatical was just like a kickstart for actually realizing I needed to take care of myself a lot better. You know, I'm still learning. I'm not. I still suck at it, because I'm just like, when I'm in my Ash Ketchum bag and I almost have blinders on, and I'm, you know, like I just keep going and going until I like reach a point where I'm like, shit, I haven't taken time off. I haven't like, you know, done anything for myself, or I haven't like, so it was a culmination of all those things. And I forgot the question.
Well, did you find that by taking...
Oh, where did I go? Sorry.
Where did you go?
Oh, yeah. So then, for a while, I went to the Eastern Cape. We road trip to the Eastern Cape with two of my homies, NJ and Slick, director Slick.
Hey, director Slick, shout out.
Yeah. We just hopped in the car and we just drove down, and we, you know,
Coffee
trekked.
Bay, that kind of thing.
Like just after Port Port Alfred. So just before, after, my geography is bad, but around those areas, and we just stayed there for a little bit, and then while I was down there, then I got a little call from Joburg.
011, get out of here.
I was like, yeah, 011, get out of here. Then I looked at my savings. I was like, maybe
maybe
011.
Maybe I should answer.
let me answer, So then Joburg was calling again, and I came back, and I was like, let me do 1 year for my savings. Let me just do it for my savings, and then
do it for the bag.
Yeah, it was literally for the bag, because again, it was like I felt like I hadn't renewed my energy as much as I thought I needed. And I just kind of was like, I came in with the mindset of like, I'm doing it for the bag, and then I kind of fell into a space where I currently am now, where it's just like I think I like advertising again. I think I'm
I've seen your output, and you are killing it, for lack of a better term. You're like making amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I've found again like another group of people who've just again like renewed the energy that I had, and the love that I had for this this thing that we do. So
I think that's a good point to land on, because we can take it a few steps back. So when you were growing up, what was your creative outlet? When did you realize, hey, I'm a creative person, and I'm, not so much into the logic side of things, or those things kind of tie into each other in any event. You can still use logic and creativity, but what were your outlets growing up, and where did your interests?
So I guess like I've always appreciated like both sides of things. Sorry about that. Both sides of things, because I never really like outwardly admitted to myself that I was like a creative person. I think even coming up like as a high schooler, when you start thinking about like careers and things, my journey was supposed to take me into architecture.
Okay.
But then I think it was grade 10. Shout out Miss Barrow, English teacher at St. Catherine's. She remember CTAs. I don't know. I don't think you guys.
We're older than CTA. I was before. What is it? There was grades. I was still in the grades, and then there was what do you guys?
I was in
LSC.
standards, bro.
No, oh my word!
There was like there was a different way of doing teaching. It was like literally the grade behind me was like.
You guys like sub
OBE,
boys, sub 6.
Yeah, outcomes based
education.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that.
That was
that old legend.
But yeah, they used to have CTAs. I think it was in grade 9 or 10. I can't remember. But one of the things in the English CTAs, which are like these like group projects essentially that you would do, that were like standardized by the government. So the government like sets the tests and the things, and one of them was to come up with a what was it? I think it was like you had to come up with a product, and then create like a poster for it, and then create a radio ad for it. And that's where it started for me. I think that's where it started, where I was like, I know I'm creative, and I thought architecture was the right place where I could mix, doing the logical thing that would please my parents, but also, being able to flex that creative muscle. But I think to answer your question in terms of like, where my creative outlets were, I've always been a dabbler, of things. That's why I can't necessarily say like I am a thing, like I do a thing on the side, I don't have that cool thing to say where I'm like, oh, I'm a painter on the side or whatever. I have my fingers in a lot of things, and that's just how it's always been as a kid coming up. I come from a fairly creative family. Skipped my parents' generation. But, my grandparents were on my mom's side were creatives, both of them. My granddad was a painter, and then he became an architect eventually in his like own crazy weird journey, and an art collector as well. Also another weird, crazy, insane journey, and and yeah, so he was that, and then my gran was like a florist. Yeah, she was a
Okay.
florist. So she was like, you know those like net florist bouquet things.
Yeah,
with
she did that.
yeah, she was doing all of that like back
Wow.
in the days, like like before it was a an actual thing. She had a like little gift shop
Oh, nice.
where she'd sell like cards and like these bouquets and flowers and little teddy bears and stuff. You know the teddy bears you get for like Valentine's,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
ones
those
holding the
Yeah.
hearts, or the ones in the teacups.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a thing.
That's nice.
So yeah, I think that was like the where kind of I kind of was like surrounded by that kind of energy. My dad is also he's a tools guy.
Yeah.
Like hammers and shit.
Yeah.
He's like a mechanic and stuff, so he's quite but he's always been like a big fan of music, so I've always grown up with music in the house, and he collects music, and that kind of fed down into me, so I also collect music, and I've always been a big music lover.
I must say that is quite a theme with a lot of the guests we've had on the show is either music or painting, and people coming from creative families. For me, I've actually met people that are like, I don't like music that much.
I'm like, what?
Do you like
What?
breathing or food?
What do you live
Yeah,
for?
they're like, I just listen to whatever's on the radio.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
like, no disrespect to them, it's like, but also
Name
a lot
and
of
shame.
disrespect.
Yeah.
No, it's odd, right? It's odd.
For me, it's just I can't understand that. How does music?
Music's such a big part of who I am, and I think we were chatting about this the other day. I was like, if I didn't fall in love with hip hop and like want to be a rapper and then want to make beats and then like I don't know who I would be. Like what would I like? That's like 70% who I am. I'm like 80% water and the rest is hip hop.
I pause.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
For me, it's I just want to understand. Do you know what I mean? It's like, why though?
Yeah, I don't know. I've met people like that. Even in like in our industry, like creative people who are just like, I just listen to
music's
it's on the
okay.
radio. And I'm like,
The 94.7 top 40.
I guess,
No
yeah.
disrespect, 94.7.
Come
All
on
of
the
the hits,
show.
all of the
We're trying to get sponsors.
Bring the bag, 94.
94.7 is the best.
But I think the the music thing is odd, right? Like I think also because we all have a vested interest in it, so it's
But where do you get your fuel? Because I think
That's
again
the
back to the
thing.
thing. Like
That's what
creators
I
need
wanna-
fuel, creators need inspiration, and like watching movies is one thing. Watching series, and people who aren't, no disrespect to people who aren't like like inherently creative as a path, but like I remember I used to have fights with people who weren't in the creative industry, and they're like, I'm like, I just need to watch this movie. It's like 2 hours of my time, and they couldn't understand that I did dedicate 2 hours to watching this movie, but they don't understand that like every shot or every like the way the thing is lit or graded influences me. It's like it's me trying to like pull energy. It's like it's trying to recharge. It's watching a movie, sure, and maybe sometimes it's a Marvel movie, sometimes it's some arty thing, but as creators you need to feed off that. It's fuel, it's food for creative souls, and that's just important.
When you say sometimes it's a movie, sometimes it's one movie that's 4 hours, like the Zack Snyder DC.
Why are you gonna bring up? He knows my ex, that's why he's joke. Yeah, we fought about a 4 hour movie. It was black and white. She's like, there's nobody colored.
Is this Justice League?
It was Justice
I
League.
still haven't watched it because I'm like, it's 4 hours.
No, it's 4 hours. I broke it up in 2 days because I had to do calls in between. But you have to.
Because I'm like, whoa, 4 hours.
But you kind of want to do it. You like, it's like you're spoiling yourself.
Yeah.
No, it's like an indulgent. It's like 4 hours of gratuitous violence and like slow motion running, but gotta do it, man.
Yeah, I'll try it out. I just need the inspiration to watch it.
Yeah. So then eventually you decided you're not going to do architecture. Why? And how did you land up doing what you actually did?
So the architecture route, obviously I think had like my granddad had a big influence on that, and also my dad is like, you can draw. How about architecture, kid? And you
like
can make
you can draw. How about fine art? He's like, no, architecture is like money.
So I think also like with credit to my parents, the advertising industry, especially like before me, they didn't really know what it was. Like
They watched that's how we found out about advertising. Generations.
to be honest,
New Horizons. I was like, damn,
Archie.
Archie.
it didn't click until much later for me that what they were doing on Generations was advertising.
Yeah, same.
It didn't.
Same.
They used to consult with Hunts, with TBWA. I remember sometimes I'd see
Yeah.
like random guys walking in.
Really?
Oh no, we're just trying to figure out like how did you guys do a pitch? They'd literally come to TBWA when I was still a junior. This is like years
Oh,
2008
wild.
or whatever. It
Yo,
was.
I would have died
Yeah.
to see Archie or
Archie wasn't there, but like
okay.
obviously the art director,
the creators.
producer, yeah, exactly. The like lame
No one wants to see
copywriter,
that.
the lame screenwriter was like, so how do you guys do a pitch? And we showed them the brown paper. And then like 2 or 3 weeks later, I saw brown paper in Archie's office. and they
Oh
were, like,
wow!
pitching
Oh,
it.
there you go.
And I was like, damn, that's cool. Yeah.
Oh wow!
I mean-
But, yeah.
For our international listeners, Generations is a soap opera. Is it still going?
Insert
Yeah,
South
it's still-
African
clip
It's
here.
still going.
South African soap
still
opera. And it's still based in
Is that
advertising.
Egoli? Am I doing Egoli or Generations?
I think you were doing Seven Delon.
I think
no.
that's Bold
No,
and
that's
the
Bold and the
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah.
That's Bold and the Beautiful.
Ta-ta-da-da. No, that's
Yemen
Seven Delon.
It's
Yeah,
dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. But that's the old
It's
school
amazing
one.
how it
That's the
gets you,
old school
hey?
one.
Those first few
Yeah.
notes.
No, those first few notes
Ta-ta-da-da.
defined like my childhood. Like, because we'd be playing
I'm gonna sample it and make
in
like
the
a beat
house
for this.
or whatever. Yeah, you should.
Oh,
Actually.
please.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
J Squad did a remix.
Of Generations.
Yeah, I think
Jay
so.
Squad
If
doesn't
I'm
listen
not,
to Generations.
no, they did a remix of the news. Remember the
Oh yeah,
du-du-du-du-du?
no, they killed
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So
J Squad.
yeah,
I like the Jurassic Park one.
but yeah, Generations
Yeah.
didn't click until like embarrassingly late, like much later. I think I was
Yeah.
at advertising
Yeah.
school when it clicked that oh
That's what
shit.
these guys are doing.
Oh shit, and it was because someone said it to me, or because like I think when I was like having a conversation with someone, they asked me like, why advertising? How did you, end up here or whatever? And I was like, and they were like, Generations, right? And I was like, Generations?
Crazy.
Generations?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so it was one of
the light
those,
bulb
you know.
moment.
No wonder it looked like nobody had any decent sleep.
Yeah, that's why they were so groggy and
Yeah,
like
that's
grumpy
angry,
and
yeah, throwing the sheets
you know,
around.
yeah.
1, 2, 3, how many?
Yeah, and why Queen actually got away with so much shit.
Queen was like a ECD, and she had like a lot on her shoulders.
Just the receptionist.
She was a receptionist, but then she like moved up real quick. It
And
was
she
funny.
just like busts through the doors and stuff. Yeah. Oh,
They're
yeah.
like, one of the agencies was like, we need to hire Queen.
Yeah,
to
yeah, and lots of
promote
drinking in the office.
Too much.
Like there'd be the scene
can't
where
be
Archie's
real.
like pouring the whiskey and does the sip and looks out into the
The
distance.
original Don Draper.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
Makes
he was
sense.
around before Don. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
exactly.
sure.
No,
For sure.
he inspired John Hamm. John Hamm was like, Archie Marocca, I need to research this guy. John Hamm was like taking notes. Like, that's how you do a pitch. I remember when I was in school, we had to do those show and tell things, right? And like, I didn't have a lot to show. But I remember watching TV with my granddad, and this one Toyota ad, ironically, came on. It was for RAV4. And it was this guy who was like doing a voice. But he started off like normal guy's voice. And as the thing went on, he was like describing the car. And he got so excited and he started sounding like a kid. It's like, and then we did this, and then we did
Yeah.
that. And I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Because it was a grown man who sounded like a kid. And my mind was blown. And I went to school and I redid that ad for like show and tell. I was like, I saw this ad yesterday. And I'm going to tell you guys about it. And then I reenacted the whole ad. And it was like a Toyota ad for RAV4. And I was like, FCB probably did that.
Why is it that as you grow older, life seems to become more boring? I mean, what a feeling. Your first paycheck and checking out your own flat.
It was just so excellent, and how totally awesome it was falling in love for the first time. I mean, it was so
radical. And how hectic it felt when you first noticed girls and like their bodies and said, check the worry in my eyes.
And before that, when you said things like, girls, gross, and wow, Dad, a 4x4, cool,
The new permanent four-wheel drive Toyota RAV4. It's no toy, but that doesn't mean it won't make you feel like a kid all over again.
But yeah, that was me. I was like, this is cool. And then Archie Morocco. And then, yeah, I was like, cool, advertising's cool. I want to do graffiti. And then I thought I can do graphic design and get money. And then I learned there was art direction. You can make TV ads. And I was like, cool.
Yeah.
I get to make that RAV4 ad. And then years later,
You manifested it.
made a Corolla
You really
ad. It
did.
was a good ad. Love driving. Check it out. It's probably on the tube. But
Yeah.
It's funny how this happens.
Yeah, it's like everything is a river.
Yeah.
You know, everything kind of, it's a circle. This whole
And
thing.
we forgot the river metaphor. We brought it back. The
Yeah,
analogy.
yeah. You know,
Okay.
you have to connect the dots.
Yeah.
You
How
have
did you
to-
get here?
How did I get you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. For me, it was just a case of I can draw, but I also want to be able to make money.
Mm.
So going fine art, you're not guaranteed to
Yeah.
get cash
Yeah.
until you're dead,
Mm.
right? Well, in some cases, in a lot of classic cases. So yeah, I wanted to earn some cash and like draw.
Yeah.
I think laziness was a big motivator. I was like, how do I like do something that I enjoy and get paid for it,
Yeah.
where I don't have to apply myself as much.
Meanwhile, oh boy, were you
Meanwhile, there's
wrong.
a lot of application
A lot of
happening.
application and
Mm.
applications.
Boy, were you wrong.
Yes,
Come on.
exactly. Oh, I see what you did there.
Hey yo.
But yeah, and then I actually took a gap year, and because I didn't know whether I wanted to study film or advertising.
Mm.
And film for me was a bit more of a collaborative, medium or art form, whereas I was quite an introvert growing up, so I wanted to do something that was, a bit more inward, but
Yeah,
more self-driven.
Mm.
And me doodling in my room was what I did growing up.
Just
So I was
doodling.
like, now as an adult, I can doodle in, with my headphones on, it's kind of my own room.
Mm.
And that's how I became a designer. But I basically wanted to do gig posters and band logos.
Sick.
That's how
Yeah.
I got into that kind of mindset of like, oh wow, like who designed this cover?
Mm.
They
Mm.
obviously paid someone to do it.
Yeah.
That person can be me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's cool.
I have actually designed an album cover.
Rocketeers,
Yeah,
right?
the Rocketeers.
Oh,
shout out to the
right.
Rocketeers. Yeah.
Hectic.
So I manifested as well.
Yeah.
We've gone full circle here, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
lots of full circle moments actually. Yeah.
So then you studied advertising. Where did you study?
I went to Vega after I took a bit of a gap year because after matric, I had applied to the FADA and all the architecture programs, and yeah,
So you really went down this path.
no,
of
I
architecture.
went down it, but again, it was like intersected with that moment where I had that CTA project where I was
Yeah.
like, this is actually what
Yeah.
I want to do, and I kind of started researching and all of that, but I couldn't find the heart to tell my dad that architecture is not going to be the one. I don't think so. And I just remember being at UJ, walking on the lawns with my dad, and I had to talk with him, and I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. No.
Was that just a gut feeling, or?
Yeah, it was definitely a gut feeling. It was a gut feeling because I felt something, like
Yeah.
there was I don't even know how to explain it, but there was a feeling I felt,
Yeah.
in the moment when I was, in the space of, working on this project and, being in it, that I just hadn't felt before,
Yeah.
And how did he take it?
He was like, what the fuck?
Really? We're here now. I mean, we
Yeah.
could go to the registration office now.
Yeah, and he's like, what the hell?
Oh,
What
man.
the hell? No, he was not happy.
Really?
He was not happy. And then obviously there's the question of like, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do with your life?
What are you going to study then?
What are you going to study? And I was like, and funny enough, even in that moment, I couldn't say it. I couldn't say advertising, that.
I'm going to
So you had
study
to almost
how-
like come out to him.
Yeah.
Come out and say, I'm an advertiser. I'm sorry, Dad.
I'm an
Dad, I want
advertiser.
to study how to tell people to move things around,
Yeah.
in an artistic way,
Oh,
where
so,
I direct the art.
Jeez.
What are you talking about?
This job
Yeah.
doesn't exist. You know Archie Morocco? I want to do that. I want to be Archie.
yeah.
So I think that's where it came in handy. Like the Archie Morocas and the Mags on Media and
Oh,
all
Mags
that,
Media, yeah.
and kind of like helping my parents understand what it is that we actually do here. So I basically took that year off. Kind of. I went to college because I was like, oh, look, there's a random web design and graphic design course at there's this college called CTU. Or so I did that for like a year, and in that year, that's when I kind of came out and I was like, okay, here's my plan. Hear me out. Hear me out.
I love you. Hear me out. I've heard
yeah,
you
I love you. You know, you love me unconditionally. You know, I am your spawn. So, and yeah, I was like, yo, I wanna do advertising, and he was like, what the fuck, you know? No, because in my dad's mind, he's like advertising, like I don't know anyone in advertising. I can't even like help you if you like needed help, you know. I don't even know if you're gonna get a job in this thing, you know, which became a whole other like spiral for me. And you know, so again, it's like it's an industry that my parents hadn't really heard of, and they didn't really know anyone in it. Besides, like I have an uncle who is in the ad industry, but you know, he's not like a close relative. So they still were like, you know,
apprehensive.
Very apprehensive. I think my dad's biggest thing, like once he gave into the fact that, okay, fine, you know, you can go study this thing. His biggest thing, I think almost every day after school and I'd get back home, he'd be like, are you sure you want to do this?
It's so crazy to
Are
think
you
of
sure
that.
you're going to get a job?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Because
You
we've
know?
spoken about this before. It's like, son, what do you want to study? Advertising. No one's amped about that. They're always like,
Yeah.
you sure? If you say doctor, if you say lawyer,
course,
everyone's like, oh.
Yeah, it's a creative industry, and the reality is like, especially like where we are situated and located in the world, the arts isn't something that's necessarily like, you know, I don't want to say not appreciated, but isn't
held in high regard.
Yeah, isn't held in high regard. It's not
I think
something
that's true
that's
globally,
not
but
celebrated.
more so in this country because
Yeah.
we're such a young, like very young country in a lot of senses.
And the arts kind of falls like, you know, it's not very high on the hierarchy of.
Because advertising, let's just be clear, is an art for anyone out there.
It is.
It's an art form.
It's a creative industry. It's just like.
But I get it with the generational thing. Sorry to get, but it's like we had apartheid, and then like people couldn't study and people couldn't work in certain places, and people had to live where they were.
Yeah.
And now like our generation, or like even the one just before it, were the first people who were allowed to like branch out and go study. And obviously it was like engineering, doctor, architecture, like law.
But even then, there is the layer of like the people who had the opportunity to go study those things often had some kind of like backing, whether it was financially or like culturally, and having access.
That's
know?
true.
So advertising is
doesn't really happen.
access to this industry is not a very easy thing. You know, it's not very accessible. I think
That's true. It's expensive. Like, let's be honest. Like AAA and Vega and all those places were way more expensive than what my friends are doing at UJ.
Sorry,
No,
but
it is.
It is.
Like, it is what it is, like, you know.
Yeah.
And there isn't really. I was lucky. I think in my second year there was some sort of bursary program that I got involved in, and that was cool. And that really helped. I think it was like 12 grand or something, but that changed my life. My mom was like a bank teller at the time, so like we didn't have money for stuff. Like she put money away for my studies, but like honestly, that bursary like changed everything, because I don't think I would have made it through second year if we didn't get that. Like that was my advertising career would have ended first year at AAA. I've gotten out of there, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Become a telemarketer or something.
Yeah, I think the education system in that part is it's a lot of loans. It's a lot of it's very expensive.
Yeah,
very expensive.
And you don't make a lot of money once you get out.
Also, and that's the part that they don't really warn you about, really.
Yeah.
So it's access into this particular industry. So again, my parents never really had access to even the education around this industry and knowing what it is and what the possibilities are around it. So for them to actively like cheer me on and be like, yeah, you go and you do your thing,
it's
kid.
understandable.
No, it wasn't gonna happen. So I spent every second day, having chats with my dad where he's like, leaving me brochures for like universities, like, hey, education is booming right now. Maybe you want to be a teacher.
Yeah.
How about that?
And then you were like, Dad, who do you think designed that brochure?
That could be me.
While I was also actively in the back of my mind going, shit. I don't know what I'm going to do after this. I don't know anyone in the industry, And also the funny thing about like being at a Vega is you meet, other people from other parts of the spectrum.
Kids
people
with money, kids with cash.
Yeah, to put it bluntly, people who have guap, who are guapped up, who have access to who have access to things.
Who
and
come to AAA or Vega with MacBooks.
Yes.
With their own MacBooks.
Yes,
like,
I hadn't seen a
laptop.
I hadn't seen a MacBook.
I was like, what is this with the Apple
until
one?
I got there, and then I was like, oh, I see everyone. It looks slick. I was like, ooh, and then I go to go research what it was, because I had a little like Dell, I think it was luckily, and yeah, so I go and I'm like MacBook research, 16 inch, because I even asked him like, what is this? Like MacBook 16 inch, and I was like, MacBook
16s. Oh.
And it was 16 grand. I was like,
That's how long ago it was. Cause
I was like, oh my god, what?
That's a lot of money.
That is.
And that time you'd like just bought your first Copic marker.
Bruh, which was also like, a sacrifice
so
to buy a Copic marker.
So you're like, should I buy C1 and C2? Nah,
they're both great.
I can get away with skipping. Go C1, C3, C5.
Yeah.
I'm good. I can blend.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, just now there's the financial pressure, the parents' pressure.
Yeah.
And just like my own pressure of like, I wanna be the very best, and yeah, so it was very tough to, like, again, I'm like shit.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone in this industry. While you sit in class with like people who are like, oh, my uncle's a art director, or he's a creative director.
I've actually got my internship sorted already.
Yeah, exactly.
What were you doing this holiday? Oh yeah, after we came back from Croatia, I went to my dad's work and I was job shadowing.
Exactly, yeah.
Bruv, that time I was sitting at the bank job shadowing with my mom. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it was.
Or working a part-time job, something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's one of those things where when it finally happened, final year, now the pressure is getting worse and worse because now your folks are looking at you like, it's time now. It's time now. What you gonna do? What is your plan? And again, it's just like the pressure.
So when did that pressure finally ease?
I was still at Vega. It was towards the end of the year, and FCB actually came to do a talk at the agency.
Oh, who spoke?
The whole gang came.
Oh.
It was
Nice.
It was the whole gang.
They
They
were
had a
like,
whole
please come.
whole
cool
situation,
crew,
came in with the music, like, hey, bruv. I was like, and
FCB was a vibe then.
and
Still
I.
is.
Yeah. So I
Edit.
But I think in the journey, right, when you're in advertising now, you start learning about these agencies and things, and you are seeing who's like top of the list, of the awards shows and things and what work they've done. And I kept coming back to FCB because I'm like, yo, they've made this, they've made that. Yo, like FCB is in my top, my top 3, and then I think the first person I saw from FCB was Tian, and he came to talk to our like little art direction class. And I was like, this is very cool. He's very cool. This, I definitely.
And Tian wasn't an art director, or he was initially, and then became a copywriter.
Yeah.
I think. Okay.
Yeah, so obviously he comes with his like cool advertising person swag,
the long
like,
hair, the funny shirts.
And I was like, I really am in the right industry. I feel like,
Nice.
I think I'm finding my people. But again, it highlighted FCP as a spot, for me at the time. And then they had the talk, the big talk where Jonathan D was there, Kabelo Lehlongwane, the head of strat at the time. Suhana was there. Suhana Gordon was there. Tippy and Tsepo, Masweo, dynamic duo were there. Can't remember anyone else, but yeah, they had a really fantastic like presentation, and they went through the work, and like because they used to have this auditorium, and they were like just like throwing it to each other, and I was
if
like,
advertising can do anything, they can sell.
They were selling.
They can sell advertising.
Listen, but also I was already sold. That's the thing. I was already sold. I'm like, this is like my dream agency. So I was just like, I was watching people who were at my dream agency. But again, it's like self-doubt was like, I know I'm going to get to my dream agency, but I know I'm going to have to like, maybe rough it out at a couple spots, Shout out to the couple spots, which, I was going to rough it out until I, have a portfolio that's grand enough to finally, get into an FCB, So fine, end of the presentation. I think everyone kind of, leaves or whatever. And they have it was like a weird autograph session where they were like giving out business cards and signing, like email addresses and things. So I think Swana was the only person who actually like said it. But she's like, if you guys want to get in contact, I can give you my email address. Just, bring me a pen and your notebook.
Oh, wow.
And everyone like
swarmed. Oh, wow.
Swarmed. Like there was like a crowd around her. She was having a Beyonce moment. She's like signing, and obviously like people are bombarding her.
Obviously
like,
they forgot to print business cards before they left the agency.
No, she did say, she was like, oh, I left my business cards. But she was busy signing like a champ there, Cool. So now I'm like, shit, this is not gonna work, right? And also I'm with my friend, who obviously knew that like this is your agency, bro, and she's like hyping me up, and she's like, dude, you have to go talk to her, and I'm like, shit, what am I gonna say, oh my god, like how do I do the thing that makes me stand out from everyone else? So eventually I'm like, I leave the room. I didn't even get her email. I went and I got her email, but I couldn't even say anything because I was so nervous. And I just kind of like fell away into the crowd, and I disappeared, and I just stood outside so they had this like courtyard, outside the auditorium. And I just sat there and I waited with my friend, and my friend's like, dude, you have to talk to her. You have to go talk to her. And I'm like, shit, what am I going to say? And she's like, just tell her that you won the one show and we didn't really convert. Well, it's a long story.
Yeah.
I don't want to shit on anyone, but there's a competition that we won when we were in varsity. So over the holidays, they had one show had a boot camp for students and things. So we participated and we placed. But we were supposed to win internships that didn't really end up happening because people didn't honor their promises. But she had participated. One of her talking points was this the actual one show in Michigan that she did, the boot camp in Michigan. So she's like, just tell her about the one show thing, and then common interest, and you're in, and so
your friend put you on though.
She put me on. If it wasn't honestly Ikaheng, shout out baby. But honestly, if it wasn't for Ikaheng, I think I would have been too nervous to actually do or say anything, So Anna eventually comes out, and she's busy talking to my lecturer. Everyone's kind of, disappeared or gone home or whatever, and I'm just like standing there like a creep, like okay, I'm gonna talk to her, I'm gonna say something, and she finally finishes talking to her, and I'm like, oh. So Ikaheng she literally pushes us towards Suhana, and she's like, hi Suhana, and Suhana's like, oh hey, hi, and we're like blah blah blah, we tell our story or whatever, and Suhana's like, oh just give me your email, and I'll get a hold of you. So I was like, okay, I don't know if that did anything, but I don't know. But I got to speak to fucking Suhana, So and then that kind of led to an email from FCB saying like, hey, Suhana told us about you,
Mary Palmos or whatever.
Yeah, it was Mary. Mary and someone else who was working under Mary. But yeah,
You
so
gotta put yourself out there, man.
yeah, you just gotta, you don't miss the train, or the train
Yeah.
will miss
So you went straight from Vega. Was it Vega?
Yeah, Vega to
To
FCB.
Wow.
Yeah, we
You
had
didn't have to go through those other intermediate
Well done.
agencies. You were like,
no, which was again another moment where I'm like, what? Like
Madrid
Yeah.
agency wants
this is like 5 years too
Yeah.
soon. It was on the 5-year plan, the
Oh,
end of the
wow.
5-year
Yes,
plan.
well done.
you
Yeah.
know? So so FCP was like, again, it was like they had the 1 month unpaid internship. I talk with my hands, but they had the 1 month unpaid internship, which was like, for me, I was just like, I just need a foot in the door. I just need someone to just hold the door open till I can just put my foot in it. That's all I need, and with credit, and like, I will love Suhana forever, because that's literally all I needed.
Yeah.
Was just an opportunity, even if
Yeah.
it was just a small one, and that's kind of where it started. And one
Nice.
thing led to another. Got into the grad program at FCP, and then eventually got permanently employed, and
Here you are.
a beat can later.
Oh,
Hey,
nah.
a couple awards later, a couple
Yeah.
trophies,
You know what I'm saying?
Grand Prix.
Yeah, and that's the rest is
And
history.
And now you can add this to your list of accolades.
Also, podcast.
Finally made it.
Finally.
No, absolutely.
But I
yeah.
actually have a story opposite to what you just told. So like, I found myself at an agency, and it was like agency drinks on a Friday. Everyone's there mingling,
Yeah.
and the MD of this particular agency, or like the CCO actually, like the big top dog, I didn't know him. I didn't know what he looked like.
Yeah.
He's standing next to me, and he's making conversation. He's like, "Hey, my name is so and so. What's your name? What do you do? What brands are you working on?" Then I return the question. I'm like, "Oh, like where do you work? Which floor? On what accounts?" And he's like, "Kind of on all of them, on all the floors." And
Oh,
I was
because he's like,
yeah, he was like,
you don't know
"Okay,
who
you don't
I
know
am?"
me." and then he's like,
No, but in a cool way, right? He was like,
in a cool way. But then what
Yeah.
I say
with that
afterwards,
advertising sarcasm, of course.
exactly.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, I say, because I introduced myself as a freelancer, and I was like, well, you should look into freelancing.
You lied. You lied.
You could do really well. Like as a freelancer, you should check out the lifestyle. And I was like, only afterwards, and it was like, do you know who that is? I was like, oh shit. Kind of, maybe freelancing's not for him.
Yeah.
it was Brett Morris.
When you're running.
Really? Oh, jeez.
Shout out to Brett
Hectic.
Morris.
Shout out Brett Morris. Come on the show.
That guy makes me so nervous every time I see him. I don't know what to say. Even with
Really?
like after weekend, it's like, yeah, you saw me one weekend. I was like, yeah, it was very cool, man. Well done. I didn't even have the heart to like, I worked on it. I was just like, yeah, okay, cool, Brett. Yeah, man, we did well, man.
Yeah.
Well, when he listens to the show, he's gonna know.
Yeah. Shout out to Brett. Come on the show. No, but I also was like, I spent, I think, the first year of my grad program. Just avoiding Brett because at the time Shannon and I were partners. Was it grad, or I think it was like first permanent year? Shannon and I were partners, and we had such a terrible presentation, like a review.
I heard about it. Yeah.
With Brett.
We
It was
all
so
heard about
bad.
it. Like,
Notorious.
Oh my
it turns out
god.
fuck it up.
Oh, we
It's
we fucked it up. Very badly. And every time I saw Brett, I just had this thing in my mind where he was probably thinking like, what is she still doing here? I thought we fired her. Like, so I'd actively like avoid him just so that, I can creep my way into still being here.
Yeah.
So
under the radar, like.
yeah.
Do we pay her? Like.
Yeah, exactly.
Pay this person.
But I guess it's like part of the process. You have to suck sometimes, Bad
No, of
advertising
course.
happens to good people sometimes.
Hey.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that kind of ties into the next question that we like to ask is, what are some of the highlights or lowlights?
Okay, I thought you were gonna ask me what bad ads I've made. Oof.
I was gonna say, lowlights as well. I think one of my lowlights was definitely, standing next to Brett Morris and recommending freelance lifestyle to him.
Jeez. Highlights. Yeah, I think. Because you I mean, for honesty's sake, right?
Yeah.
You sent me this question before, like in the email.
Yes.
And I've taken some time to think about it, and I can't put my finger on one thing, if I'm being very honest with you, because like this industry has just afforded me so many like really cool moments, you know, like sometimes like moments where I'm actually in disbelief that I'm in the rooms and I'm at the places that I'm at, and I'm like experiencing the things that I'm experiencing, and I'm shooting with people I'm shooting with.
Like Brian Urbana.
Oh yeah.
Shout out Brian Urbana.
That's you.
Shout out Brian.
HDH.
Shout out Brian.
Shout out Brian Urbana.
Yeah, there's so many highlights, and I think advertising has afforded me so many like firsts, you know.
Yeah.
I hadn't really been on a plane until, you know, I shot an ad. I mean, I was on a plane when I was like a baby, you know, but like as a fully conscious adult person, I hadn't been on a plane until I was like going on a shoot.
Jet setting.
You know, so
That's cool.
yeah, so it's just like that's like just like, and that was in the beginning of my career, so it's just to be able to shoot again with like people whose work I've seen and I've admired, and you know, now to be standing next to them and, you know, giving my unsolicited solicited advice you know, on a shot. You know, those are really dope moments. I mean, every time I get giddy over like all the work that, you know, gets out there, you know, anything that I can show my parents that I've done is like always a highlight for me, you know, and something, especially if like I love it, you know, if it's a piece of work that I love, you know, for me to be able to be like, yo, moms, that billboard, that's me, you know, or like a TV ad, when they see a TV ad, you know, they get quite excited as well.
And then it all makes sense, and your
Then,
dad's
yes,
like,
yes, we finally gotten to the point where my parents are like, you're gonna be okay.
Yes.
So
like getting that Grand Prix and walking on stage, it finally is like, look, Dad,
yeah.
couldn't have gotten this at
He still
architecture.
doesn't get what a Grand Prix means, but you know, it's good enough that he's like, well done,
that's
done,
nice.
you know. So so a lot of highlights. I mean, highlight was the Grand Prix, if I'm being very honest. I get the Cannes Lion was great, but I think the Grand Prix was extra special because of like being able to be there and to be in that moment when they announce your work, right, amongst your peers. And I think that's the part for me that gets me is because, you know, the whole week at Lurie's was
you were
lovely.
judging, Judge
Oh
Curie,
yeah,
eh?
Judge Curie. I
Oh,
was
there you go.
judging also,
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
which is also like, what,
Crazy,
you know, but yeah, so to win a Grand Prix in front of my peers in a week where it felt like a, you know, a FCB reunion, you know, obviously because FCB is a university, you know, people come and go,
Everyone comes out of it.
you know, everyone comes out of there, and especially the people that contributed to my growth and the people who, you know, I sat with and took time out to like teach me stuff, and when I was a, you know, little kid in advertising, you know, so to be in a room with like my you know, uncles and aunties in advertising, and for them to witness that moment, it didn't feel like it was just for us, you know, the people who climbed that stage, but like for me it did feel like especially great for the people who witnessed me as like a junior intern, to now be, you know,
I'm
up
getting
there
emotional, man.
Oh.
collecting an award like that, a fucking Grand Prix, which is insane, you know. So even after the after party, you know, even before the after party, when I came back into, because you know, you do the stage, go outside, take picture, you know, come back inside. When I came back inside, you know, out the corner of my ear, Nobs was like up there, and she kept saying, Naledi, and I was like, Nobs, you know, and yes, Nabantu Sibeko, shout out Nabantu, come on the show.
I started with Nabantu, it was nice.
Are you crying?
No,
So
no, it's just emotional. So it's like a full circle thing.
yeah, it is. It really is. There's an even bigger circle. We'll get into it. So, yeah. So to have like knobs, like Naledi, oh my god, for Suhana, she was the ECD on the job, and for her, because of she's ECD at another agency, it's a bit weird if she
goes on stage.
yeah, but for her, the person who was so integral in my journey to be integral in the journey of the stage for a fucking Grand Prix, for her to be there as well, and yeah, like everyone else, like at the after party I kept bumping into different people, like Fez Dingo Bembe, fire art director, come on the show. Where you have like your peers. I don't even see them as peers. I don't see you guys as peers. I kind of think of you guys not to be ageist, but you guys are like aunties and uncles, or older cousins rather.
You're still cool.
Yeah, it's still cool. Still very cool. But it's
still
just
give you a drink on the side.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? So to have my older, cousins be there for that moment, and for them to, witness something like that is just incredible. So the after party is I keep trying to get to. I keep bumping into different people who were there during that era at FCP. You remember that era. 2017 to I want to say like 2016 to 2018 into 2019. It was an era.
It's a good class.
It was an era, and for me to have been amongst such a dope group of people, and for those dope group of people imparted so much knowledge in my life, to be at the after party and bumping into them and then saying congratulations. And there was a point where I was like bawling in the club, which is
not like this.
And no, bawling like a Pokemon character, and the tears like. So it was just surreal.
Awesome.
It was very full circle. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that answers the question beautifully. Like, a lot of highlights there. So I think it's just very interesting because you said, your journey's kind of been like, I'm not sure what I want to get into. There's a bit of doubt.
Yeah.
Then into falling in love with advertising, and then finally the pressure easing. Like, okay, cool. The lady's made it now. To going on a sabbatical, having that self-doubt again. Yeah. To kind of where you are now.
Yeah.
What a hero's journey.
Yeah, man.
Hey, it's been tough. It's been a very interesting journey to be on, but full circle moment actually. It's like my dad used to work for Coca-Cola at the canning
Oh man.
Station factory for years and years. Like Coca-Cola paid for my school fees.
Oh wow.
So for me to be here now, like winning a can for a can,
a beat can.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'll be bowling in the club later.
Oh, Jacque.
So that was also like always like it was a full circle moment where it was like, damn, actually,
cool.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so in closing now, we're just going to ask you if there's anything that you want to plug, any cool projects you're working on, any
Okay, let me tell you something really quickly. Okay, so she works on KFC now. Okay, I hope this ages well, but she works on KFC now. We just have been working on rebranding the brand, and building that brand love and stuff. So we just released a really cool series of just like projects, one after the other, kind of cementing that, from taste guarantee ads of like just people falling in love and not being able to resist the Colonel's taste. Let's say the taste. The Colonel's taste is a bit weird.
Yeah.
Right? It sounds.
Shout out to Colonel Sanders. The flavor of the Colonel, yeah.
Yeah, that original recipe goodness. But so from those to the telling stories about people doing anything for the taste, you know, the inspector and PI diaries and, you know, just like re-looking what the brand looks like even. It's been such an incredible, incredible journey that has definitely contributed to reigniting my love for this thing that we do called advertising. Where can you find me? I don't know if I want you to find me.
We can find you at Ogilvy.
Oh, you can find me at Ogilvy, Johannesburg.
By the ducks.
Yeah, you know, that's all I do. I just chill and feed ducks until something sparks. But yeah, Ogilvy, Johannesburg currently, and
On Insta at...
No, you don't want to.
Do you wanna find me on Insta? Okay, you can find me on Insta at ASAP Manje, but this is not a work Insta. It's not like I don't have
All
a
views
Finsta.
expressed are purely my own.
Purely my own. Ill chaos expressed is purely my own.
Yeah.
You know, my work-life balance is very much. No, it's not in balance. That's a lie.
Yeah.
But
Too much life happening, hey?
yeah, lots of
Not
life.
enough work.
No, lots of work. But you know, work hard, party hard, live hard, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you have quite a busy schedule.
I do.
You should be somewhere right now.
I do. I really do.
Well, we appreciate you joining us.
No, absolutely. I really love that you guys are doing this. I think generally I appreciate people documenting, you know, the culture and different cultures.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's necessary. And advertising is its own like little universe, you know. And it's dope that you guys are documenting people's journeys and experiences and things like that. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Hey, thanks.
Lurries, sponsor them.
Yeah.
Hey. We'll do a special Lurie's broadcast.
Lurries. You have a Grand Prix winner, you know, host. You know what I'm saying? You know, very recent.
No, but thanks again. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much.
But all the award shows, you guys should like, you know, do a live broadcast.
We'll do
maybe.
a live, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Get us free tickets
Ideas.
and a flight. Free
Yeah, this
tickets
is
and
now a
flight, we'll be
brainstorm
there.
session.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I
Thanks,
can't
Naledi.
help myself.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, how do you end this thing?
So the way we end it is we say,
Follow us.
come check us out at bleedadvertising.com
Yeah.
as well
you
as...
guys have a website.
Yeah,
We have a website. It's a legit website. Ryan did all the design. It's really slick.
Official.
Please check it
Oh,
out.
thank you.
Official.
We've got Patreon.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
man. We are
Alright,
Bleed _ advertising
Yeah.
on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Bleed Show on Twitter. I
Yeah.
recently discovered because I was like, I need to put co-host in my bio.
You really do.
I did co-host of Bleed
On
Show.
your LinkedIn as well.
Oh, LinkedIn.
Yeah, this is definitely going on my CV.
Awesome.
No, for sure.
All right. So the way we end it is thanks for being on the show. From myself, Ryan Whyte, freelance graphic designer, and Jacque Moodley, award-winning permanent art director, and Naledi Manama, award-winning art director. This has been Bleed Advertising. Thanks for joining us, and it's a wrap.
God bless.
See you on the next episode.
Bye. Oh man, I love that.
It's dope. This is fun, guys. I'm glad we
Thanks.
did this.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.